Before I left for Thailand, I did not have that many expectations. I was beyond excited to experience a new country, learning more about the Thai culture. As a student who studies economics and global studies, I was eager to learn about the interconnectedness of family, environment, and religion on the community and the economy. I was interested in observing how Thailand has been influenced by globalization and make comparisons between life in Thailand and life in America. During our time in Thailand, my attention was constantly drawn towards the idea of community and development. I questioned what makes up a community. After a number of visits to schools, villages, or organizations, I kept seeing how the Thais were so involved in each other's lives, whether it be within a family, village, school, or the entire country. Our visit to the local market, followed by the cooking class, first introduced me to community engagement. There are many local markets in Thailand, and we learned that each station is owned by different families or people. Contrary to America, people typically visit the local market on a daily basis due to the lack of refrigerators. People only buy enough groceries for the day and return again the next day. When we were at the cooking school, I learned that the local community was involved in the process of making the recipes. They would write down the recipes and give it out to people around them to try the recipe and give advice. Also, local people were hired on the day of a class to help with preparations and cleaning. This day spent at the cooking school gave me a glimpse of community in Thailand. Our homestay visit to Mae Kampong village in a more remote area of Thailand was probably the one aspect of the trip that I was most uneasy about, but it ended up being one of the most meaningful parts of our trip. I was apprehensive as I did not know what to expect, and despite the minor challenges, the experience taught me so much about the village community. From an economic perspective, I learned a lot about community involvement for economic development. It was so awesome to hear about their coffee plantation and how it supplied one of the local coffee shops that was a meeting spot and an oasis during our time in the village. During our conversation with the chief, I was impressed by his ability to evaluate the natural resources and strengths of the village and then came up with the idea of community-based tourism. As the village is located in the mountains with little ability for agriculture, the village people were trained to be hospitable and host tourists who want to experience the uniqueness of their village while contributing to the economy. I loved how it was a small village tucked between large mountains. It was interesting and so different to be so close to your neighbors. The activities, the sights, the sounds of a motorcycle whizzing by, and roosters at the crack of dawn all reminded me of my family and the Philippines. It wasn't home, but it felt like home. Towards the end of the trip, the Mekong River School, called the Institute of Local Knowledge and Culture, focuses on the education of local people with an empowerment model. They educate people to know more about the development and the Mekong River. The Mekong River touches 7 countries. It is the 10th longest river in the world, 3rd in Asia, as it is over 4,000 kilometers long. It starts in China and is a route to the rest of the world through the southern part of China. Long ago, it was accepted that the Mekong River belonged to everyone until dams began to be built, which had negative effects on the environment and the people. Thus, they wanted to empower local people to know more about the history and natural resources. They want people to be educated and conduct research. They want the researchers to be community members and not just outside people or international people, because the information affects and stems from within the community. In economics, there is always a cost and benefit analysis when it comes to profit and resources. This lecture stirred several questions within me. Do we focus on saving and preserving the environment or maximizing sustainable profit? How will this affect the economy? is it possible to do both, preserve culture in villages and have sustainable income and development, without man-made systems and industrialization? Are local people satisfied with their standard of living and current economic situation in Thailand? Overall, I was thoroughly impressed with the passion and dedication behind the Mekong River School and community engagement. Our time in Thailand came and gone so quickly. Each day there was so much to take in and reflect upon, but what really stood out to me was how engaged the Thai people were in each other's lives, which is quite different than the individualistic lives most people live in America. We are all part of a community, in fact, multiple communities, whether a community was formed by family, a school, religion, neighbors in the same village, or people with a common cause. The global community is so complex and unique. As I journeyed as a foreigner on the other side of the world, Thailand has taught me to observe, to give and take, and to be fully immersed wherever I find myself. I learned to find commonalities, embrace differences, and to be engaged as I move through the world.